2, 3. Welcome to another episode of BorderLaughs podcast, guys. You know me, I'm your host, Josh Castro, and today I got a very special episode with my good friend, Mr. Valente Rodríguez, guys.
Hey, what's up?
If you don't know by now, I am doing my podcast here live on location at El Perritos restaurant, one of the best restaurants in South Austin. Come by, come and see us, check out the menu. I work here on the weekends sometimes, but not all the time. But while I'm not working on the weekend, I am also on the road with Mr. Valente Rodríguez. If you don't know Mr. Valente Rodríguez, please, every time I say, you know Valente, I don't know, Ernie from George Lopez show. Oh, yeah. Blood in, blood out. Oh, yeah. So, guys, if you don't know, please look up this man. This man is a hard-working man here and doing his thing in Texas, guys. And he was very kind enough and very nice enough to allow me to participate on his tour with my homie Flo Hernandez, all the way from Dallas, guys. We've been on the road and we've been sharing some stories, and I'm very blessed to be a part of this tour. So, Valente, what do you think about the tour? How do you?
It's badass. I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. I'm a performer, right? And so I love getting up in front of people, but I also love meeting people as well. And this tour has allowed me to do that. And it's crazy because with a show like George Lopez, we were on TV for so long, and with a movie like Blood in, Blood Out, people have watched it for so long that I've actually, been in people's lives without even knowing that.
Right.
And then I run into them and they tell me all these stories about how they used to watch the show and all this other kind of stuff, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, there we go, Papa. Oh, yeah.
As you know, it's the ATX Tacos, and we're doing also a food review here, guys. As you can see, my boy Ivan hooked it up with the ATX Tacos. This is the first time Valente is going to try it out. So we're going to do a quick food review.
Here's the other thing about being on the road. You get to eat a lot of different food from a lot of different places. Most of the time is we're probably at IHOP at 2 a.m, trying to wind down after the show. That's also the kind of stuff that that's really exciting, doing the show, having a whole bunch of energy after the show, hanging out, having the talks we have, that sort of stuff. So that's one thing that draws me towards doing the show. The other thing is that there's nothing like live performance to improve the timing that you have on stage. And timing goes across any kind of acting. It doesn't matter what kind of acting you're doing, if you're doing comedy, if you're doing drama, if you're doing live stage, if you're doing television, if you're doing film. The really, really good people at what they do have very, very good timing. And the way to learn that timing the best is to do live on stage by yourself, because then it's you.
Yeah.
It's just you. It's not somebody else behind you messing it up, right?
Right.
It's just you. And so that's one of the things I love about doing comedy, but I'm going to taste this right now. So I'm already hungry, man.
We'll be right back. We're going to go and do this food review, and then we'll get back to you guys. This is basically better than
dude. Oh my God. This is really good. Being from California.
Let me bring a napkin.
Give me a napkin. Being from California, I was going to ask for a big old salad, but this stuff is good, brother.
I told you, I'm not lying, brother. Wow. I wouldn't stray you away.
It's fried. It's Texas. It got to be fried. I'm going to keep eating while you ask the questions. Go ahead.
Okay. Had a lot of experience, with acting, and so now you kind of seen this avenue where you're looking at more of a performance, and so is that kind of what kind of led you to? Because you've always been funny, and obviously you've been involved in comedy. You understand, the dynamics of comedy, and making that transition to stand up. How do you? What made you kind of get into that?
Well, the idea of being by yourself on stage and being able to work your way through whatever problem that comes up, because you know it, you're on stage and you've experienced that. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you miss something, sometimes you forget something, sometimes you deliver it really well and it doesn't land. That to some people sounds extremely scary. That to me sounds extremely exciting, because then it's what do you do then?
Yeah.
How do you work yourself out of that hole?
Right.
How do you get to that place? And the idea of being able to, because I'm also coming a little bit from the improv world, although most of my training was in theater.
Right.
But which lends itself to live performance, right? But the idea of, okay, once you're there, once you're on the set, once it's happening and it's not going right, what do you do then? You know? How do you work yourself out of this hole? Are you flexible enough to do that? Is your mind quick enough to do that? Are you not freaking enough? You know, are you keeping your nerves down enough? Because we're always nervous on stage. It's just a matter of how well you maintain that. And so that to me is really, really exciting. And you can't find that anywhere else that's not dangerous other than on stage. Because I could, you know, get drunk and drive down the freeway and they'll pull me over and I'll feel the same kind of heartbeat going on, but I'm going to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. So I do this shit on stage to get that sort of energy going. And really, you've experienced it, you know.
Oh yeah. No, being as a comedian, you definitely have that vibe. It's that vibra that you feel in the audience, you know, and it fluctuates. And that's one of the things that I noticed doing comedy is like, you know, my ability to kind of sense that out in the room and feel that energy and feel that type of environment of the, ooh, there's something. I always feel like it's this Mexican sixth sense, you know, right. You walk in and something's wrong. Something wrong.
Get the sage. Limpia. And when it's going right, it feels really, really good.
Yes, and it's all love.
Really, really
it's
good.
It's all love, reciprocal love. Yeah. And I've never experienced that before, you know, and it's a great way to vent out a lot of my frustrations. You know, a lot of times when, you know, I was the type of quiet person in my family. Right. And so when if you ask any of my family members, oh, he didn't talk at all growing up, but now we can't shut him up. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, like, that's because I kind of held a lot of stuff in, you know, and going up on stage, having that outlet of performance really helps me and allow me to kind of vent and almost. Oh, this is why the same people say comedy's like therapy.
It is like therapy.
Although you shouldn't go on stage and work out those demons all the time. But I mean, at the same time, there is a form of releasing and letting go of some of that, either negative energy or any energy that you may have that you weren't able to express in other outlets, but other than, you know, your voice. And to me, like, I get pissed off when I hear about, like, political stuff, and then I start talking about subjects, and then I get real political. I was like, then it becomes down to funny, you know. So, but I think I find things that are more funny where I'm passionate about. Right. And then the more passionate about, the more funny comes out of it.
Yeah. And I think that's how you know you're in the right place. You know, how good do you feel about the thing that you're doing, and how passionate do you get, and then how far do you go when you start talking about it and you get all these ideas and all this crazy stuff and you get all wild and everything. And, you know, that's where you know how you know you're in the right place. If you're not feeling like that about what it is that you're doing, you know, I understand we got to pay bills. You know, we were talking about that earlier. Everybody got to pay bills, but we all got to try and strive and move towards finding the thing that makes us feel like that. Yeah. You know, and that, for me, that's acting.
That's
any
great.
kind of acting. Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people, most might not know this, but you started off in theater, and your love and passion was in theater and performance. And so, and that's kind of how you kind of got discovered with Blood In, Blood Out, right? And that's how did that get kind of work through?
So when I got to LA, the first thing I did, because I came out of the university down in South Texas, now it's UTRGV. I came out of there with a theater degree and moved to LA. When I got to LA, I was very fortunate. I got like 4 different jobs, not acting jobs. I was being a carpenter on the weekends, working at a video store, being a courier, and being a telemarketer. I just had to pay bills to stay in LA, right? But soon after, I was lucky to get an agent, and then I got a part in a movie for the very first movie I auditioned for. I got a part for, right? And so I took that money that I made from that, and then I looked for a theater scene in Los Angeles, and I found one, and I became a member of that theater. And for the next 5 or 6 years, I mostly did theater and had little bitty things. I did Golden Girls, had some TV stuff, and then after those 5 or 6 years, that's when then Blood In, Blood Out came in. Yeah. But all of that theater acting contributed to the acting in Blood In, Blood Out. Excuse me, the acting in Blood In, Blood Out. And in Blood In, Blood Out, that was really the first big movie. I didn't even realize how big it was.
Yeah.
Or it was going to be.
And so, yeah, like, and that was my next question as far as, like, filming it. You really didn't expect it to be a cultural, iconic movie.
I didn't. For a couple of reasons. One, I didn't really understand it. I'm from South Texas, and growing up in the 60s and 70s, we really didn't have that kind of gang lifestyle. We had some people that were kind of sort of like that, but in South Texas, we were more like the kickers and the greasers, or the football players and the band, or you know what it's like in Texas, right? We had that kind of stuff going on.
Different.
So I didn't understand that lifestyle, but I also, as well, didn't understand. So we had Taylor Hackford as the director. Taylor Hackford, big time director. He won an Academy Award. So this guy is really good, and we had an amazing writer and an amazing artist, and then all these amazing talents come in to do the movie. But I was so new to the TV and film scene, because I'm over here doing theater, that I didn't understand all this talent. If you look at this movie, dude, Billy Bob Thornton is in this movie.
Billy Bob Thornton's in it.
A lot of different people who have then, Benjamin Bratt had huge careers, Raymond Cruz. And so that just hadn't occurred to me. And I was so much in the moment.
Breaking Bad, the guy from Breaking Bad.
I was so much in the moment, just doing my job. Later, when I saw it, I went, wow, yeah, this is good. The other thing, though, I didn't understand was there were very few movies like this made. And so there's Mi Familia and there's America Me, but stories that explain this kind of lifestyle to a lot of Latino people throughout the United States. And it's been over 30 years, and it's still
relevant, and it's still true to what he says, because at the same time, no matter where I go, following this man, everybody will come and reference and will do a quote from the movie. They want to
go out the pinche window.
Out the pinche.
Hey, this is your poppy shotgun. Out the pinche window.
Well, no, it's like anytime you hear any quote, I keep telling them we should do like a quote along at the Alamo Draft House. Like just have a like Geronimo.
Cocaine is America's cup of coffee.
There you go. And so you have all these.
Some chon-chon.
You got so many quotes and so many memorable scenes from that movie.
And it's crazy, man. 30 years.
30 years. I mean, when I grew up, so my perspective on this movie is like, I was growing up, and when I saw this movie, I was still in middle school.
Wow.
So I was in middle school when this, but the way this was portrayed was the same way I saw the same people in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was very relevant. So I didn't see it as an iconic movie either back then. I just saw it. I was like, why are they just filming in my hood?
Yeah.
Like, why are they just filming in my hood? Like, what's the point? Like, why do you want to glorify this shit? To me, in my head, but I like the Crucito portion of it, and I kind of like the gang, because I grew up around a lot of gang stuff. Yeah. So to me, it was kind of relevant, and like me and my friends getting into stupid shit like them back then. Yeah. And then seeing the references, even how old it is, how like my parents kind of live that lifestyle too at the same time, not really knowing it. Right. You know what I mean? It's not like, not a gang lifestyle, but just that culture back in the 70s, how things were and how things were perceived, and the mentality back there, as far as old school gang mentality, territory, stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, we really evolved as people.
Like we have.
You know what I mean?
Really, the cool thing about the movie is that, I mean, if you look
at culture,
it, it's long, right? Exactly right, and it's a long movie, right? But it's Jesse's story, it's Crucito's story. The story of this dude who's grown up in this lifestyle, gets addicted to drugs, goes through this huge life change, loses somebody precious in his life, comes all the way back around to understand that the most beautiful thing that we have is the family.
Exactly.
And I think that's why it resonates in the community. It is about gangs and there is violence and there's all this like other kind of stuff.
But the backstory.
But the backstory is that at the end of the day, what you come back to is family. What you always come back to is family, and in a fucked up way, that's the gang thing, right? Yeah. You don't have a family, we'll be your family. Yeah. Come, we'll protect you. Well, you protect us, we'll protect you. Yeah. And so that's a metaphor for what the whole movie's about.
Pretty much
is about family back. Whether it's good family or bad family.
And,
you know?
and if you notice on the side, if you look up this movie, you can also find it about Bound by Honor, and that's something that I notice is that sometimes you can't always find it under that title of Blood In Blood Out. Do you know the reason why they added Bound by Honor, or?
Apparently,
because when I first heard the movie, it was Bound by Honor.
Now I don't know if this story is true, but this is the story I've heard. Yeah. I finished them off, brother. I kept eating, brother. I'm not talking, eat at the same time. Fucking actor, brother. So this is the story I heard. That originally the name was Bound by Honor. But then they did some kind of research stuff, and they found out that, and this was back when Blockbuster was the big thing.
Yeah.
They found out, and for those of you who don't know, Blockbuster was a video store you'd go into, you'd get your video.
You had a membership
back
card.
in the day. Hombre. And so they did this research thing, and they found that when you're walking through Blockbuster, if a movie had blood in the title,
really,
they were more apt to go pick it up and go, oh, what is that? Blood? Mira blood in. And so they changed it by in the movie there's a line about it's blood in, blood out to get into the
gotcha. So they kind of had to strategically market a way where they can sell it.
That's what I heard.
Well, that makes sense because at that time, I mean, what the first UFC fight was coming out. Where it was blood and all, it was very censored back then, NC-17, things like that. Now nobody gives a shit.
No.
5-year-olds looking at porn and shit.
Get Blockbuster, I got the whole world right here.
So yeah, that's a great story. That's great. So you're never gonna hear that anywhere else, but here at the BorderLaughs podcast. So some little insights, guys, that you may or not know about the movie, guys. So what was your favorite thing about this movie? What was your favorite scene or your interaction or the most memorable from it? Do you have anything?
The favorite scene, well, two of them. The driving through the streets. Filming the one where we crash into the car.
Yeah.
And the scene that was just before that as well, where we go beat up the guy on top of the hill.
Yeah.
Which took 2 days, as a matter of fact.
2 days to shoot.
It was crazy.
Wow.
And then the scene where they're tattooing Miklo for the first time. That was really cool. And most of that scene was improvised. Most of the stuff we said there, that singing ay cholo no yo. Yeah, most of those lines were made up by us right there on the spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that was a long time ago. It's hard to remember that far back.
Yeah. We're going really little bit back. Well, that's great, man. Thank you for sharing that. And then also, too, you worked on the George Lopez show, too. And how long was that running for?
So we got on 2002 was our first year, and we went to 2007. And we did 120 shows during that time. And then in 2006, we got syndicated. So by the time we got canceled in 2007, we were already in syndication. We're already being shown. And so from 2002 till right now, we're still on the air.
Nice.
Right now we're on Peacock, and I think we're on TBS or something like that.
Nice.
But for a while there, we were in like 4 or 5 different places you could catch us on.
And how was your experience working with George Lopez?
That was the best experience ever. I mean, for an actor, and specifically for an actor doing comedy, sitcom is the place to go, unless you get your own comedy special, right? Maybe a variety show like Saturday Night Live or something like that. But sitcom, that's usually the place where actors who are very good at comedy tend to gravitate to.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful because what you do is you work 5 days a week. You have weekends off, and your days are really, really pretty short. And you have, we carried 11, 12, 13 writers. And so you have all of these people that are writing for you. Yeah. Right? And because
for that character.
For that character, yeah. Uh-huh. And once you've been on the air for a while, 2, 3 years, even after the first year, you've done 22, 23, 26 shows. The writers, they get to know you. They know what you do best, Yeah. And so it's like having all these writers writing for you, and now all you have to do is come in and read these words. And if they work, great, and if they don't, they'll rewrite it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're working with a group of people that are extremely talented. And that's the best of worlds, because you're getting paid a lot of money. and you're working with other people who are just as good, if not better than you are.
Yeah.
You know? And then when that's happening, that's when you have a really, really successful show. It's got to come from all directions, though. It's got to come from the writing and the casting and the director and the actors. All of it has to come together because there's so much product out there. For you to be able to have a good show, all of it's got to come together.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's a part that I thought I could do extremely well. When I first got the script, I was extremely surprised because you didn't see that. And this was back in 2002. You didn't see that. There was not a single Latino show on the air. And then I read the script and I see the part of Ernie and I go, dude, I can do that part.
Yeah.
I know I can do that part.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. You know? 3 months later, I got the part, right? And now I'm doing the part and it's going really, really, really well. And I work well with George.
Nice.
For whatever reason, our energy meshes.
Yeah.
And we make a really, really good team.
That's great.
And so now it's like you've won the lotto, man.
Yeah.
You won the lotto. You found the pot of gold because everything is right. All you have to do
Show up.
is show up and do your job.
Exactly.
You know, do your job and that's it.
That's
all
awesome.
you got to do. And we would shoot that show live.
Yeah.
So we had 300 people in the audience, 200, 300 people in the
So
audience.
would you take a lot of takes or would you?
Usually what we do, we run the scene, and if we got it right, we'd run it one more time. And then if something was going wrong, we'd run it one more time, and then we'd go back and shoot inserts, just the specific, 30 seconds of this or 30 seconds of that. And we had 4 cameras. And so there's an audience, there's 4 cameras in front of them, and then there's us. And so, you're watching over here over the top of the cameras. So you immediately know if it's working or not. You hear the audience go, and you have to, as an actor, you have to have that dual consciousness where you're in your character, but you have to hear them laughing.
Right.
And you have to know when to come in for the next line.
And that's kind of where
keep that energy going.
And see, that's where the stand-up comes in.
Yes.
And
exactly
that's why I think you're just like fitting right in.
You have to follow that flow.
If you study any comedian, specifically, I know this for a fact, Pete Holmes. I don't know if you know Pete Holmes. Mm-hmm. Very well-known comedian in LA. And the way that he would get his jokes and his energy, and he would go to those sets, and he was the fluffer for the crowd in between those scenes and those sets that you're seeing.
Yes.
And he was a comedian to make sure that everybody's still having a good time.
And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. So when you're shooting a live show, you start like at 5, right? And the audience will come in at like 4:30, and the audience is going to be sitting there from there till maybe you end at 7. Or maybe 8, maybe it's 2.5, 3, 4, 5 hours that the audience is going to have to sit there, right? They get to go to the bathroom, and sometimes they get pizza and stuff like that. But in between all of that time, you have this guy that Josh is talking about in front of the audience, warming up the audience, telling them stories, juggling, doing all kinds of, they're like little carnival freaks. I didn't mean to call you freaks, brother. You're really, really good. Right?
Well,
they're like that. They do whatever it takes to keep that audience warmed up so that they don't lose their energy, right? Yeah. So that when the TV starts going again, when the scene starts going again, they're already energized. Yeah. And there are people who make a whole living doing that.
That's awesome, man. That's where I come in, the jester.
There you go. There you go.
That's what it was.
And then you have the success of the show for 120 episodes, and then the money that comes in off syndication, the money that comes in off residuals, and so the real world comes in, and so you understand that you have to make a certain amount of money to get health insurance. Yeah, you have to make a certain amount of money to get pension. Mm-hmm. So no matter how much success that is occurring for you critically or in the public world, you still have the real world of, man, I got to pay bills. I got to make health insurance. I got to get this. I got to.
And that's all in the realm of acting, And that's all, everything like that. A lot of people, the backside of it,
Right. People think that we just survive on TV and that's it. No, I got a mortgage.
We got a show tonight.
Tonight we got a show. We got to pack all this shit up, drive back, and do a show.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Valente. So one question I always wanted to ask: what is the best advice you could probably give to anybody who wants to start up in acting or theater or even stand up?
So that's what I would say. This is what I would say. I would say, look, stand up and acting are two different things. But if you want to eventually make the step of moving from stand up to acting, then I would definitely say you have to have some acting training. And the best place to get that training is on stage, theater. Now, if you just want to be a stand up, I would say go to open mics. Go to open mics and get up there and see if first off,
right,
you might think you're funny, right? And so those thoughts that you think are funny in your head, write them down. That's the first thing you do. Write the jokes, right? And then go up on stage. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself like you would for anything else, right?
Yeah.
Then go on stage and see if you can handle it, because not everybody can. And this is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just the way we are. Some people thrive on stage, some people don't, right? And you might be really, really funny, but you might not be a stand-up. You might just be a writer. And then you're really funny and you're just a writer and you go on stage and it doesn't work because you get too nervous or you get whatever and it doesn't work. So that's okay. You're in the writing world, right? You're not in the comic world. And that'll teach you that. If that works for you, going on stage and your jokes work, then I would suggest keep doing it over and over and over and over and writing more and more and doing it. And eventually that will lead to something. It will lead to something if you have the energy for it. If you want to be an actor, I say go and get theater training somewhere, anywhere. The place I did it was college. Back then it was really cheap for me. College is not so cheap anymore.
Yeah.
But there are other places, and now you can even do it online. There's some really, really famous actors who are teaching courses online, so you can do it that way.
There you go.
And that's what I would say. I'd say get training. The better you get, the more you do it.
Practice.
The more you get on stage, the better you're going to get.
Basically.
And the better you get, the better you get. The other thing I would say is, it's not something you get into to make money, right? Now,
remember that.
In the best of worlds, hopefully you make some money and hopefully you make a career out of it. But the amount of people that are going to become super, super famous, the George Lopez's of the world, those are very, very, very few.
Rare.
And it's going to remain very, very, very few, very rare. You might make enough to make a living at it, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. It's about being happy on this journey that we're on and trying to
Finding
make a living.
Peace.
Exactly. Finding your peace. Yeah, very well put. And so that's what I would say. Don't go into it thinking that in this new world of internet, there are other ways. You don't have to go to Hollywood. There are other ways you can do it. You can do your own shows. You can do your own podcast. You can do, all this other kind of stuff. You can do a social media thing. You can go influencer route, that sort of stuff. To want to be an actor requires a particular frame of thought where it's not about how much money am I making, how famous am I going to be, but rather I played a character in this movie that's really unique, and I love going into this fantasy world and thinking of my characters and thinking of what the things I'm going to do and going over the lines, and I'm really into that kind of minutia. If you're into that, then that's probably what you want to be. If you're not, don't go into that, because there's many other things on this internet thing, web, whatever the fuck it is, that you can capitalize on and make your living at, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. If you want to be an actor, theater is the place. You want to be a stand-up, it's on stage, live. But the first thing to it is write. And I would even advise that for acting as well. You don't have to be writing plays or anything, but write your thoughts, do a daily journal. Mm-hmm. Even if it's, I didn't think of anything today, that's fine. Because in that, if you're really drawn towards acting and comedy, then you're creative. And if you're creative, it pours out of you. You gotta want to do something with it. So writing it down and that will form ideas that you can use later on.
Gotcha. That's great. Great advice.
That's a long answer.
Well, I hope you got all of that, because that's part of the process. And I'm one of those that I'm gonna take that advice. And you see me, I've been writing this.
Look at all these notes. Look at that.
So it's got to start somewhere. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, and as we go, the food review. What did you think?
What do you think? I ate it all, brother. It was very good. It's very good. It is fried, but this wasn't. And although they have a lot of sauce and some cheese on it, it didn't really taste greasy. It was really, really good. It was really, really good.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is El Perritos here on South Austin, guys.
These were the ATX tacos. They were very good.
Yeah.
And these would work as a really good appetizer también.
And so Ivan is here chefing it up. He is now inside the brick and mortar, guys. Come and check it out here on South Austin on Stag's Leap, guys. Beautiful day out here. And so that's pretty much all I have for Valente, guy. Anything you want to, if anybody wanted to find you online, how would they find you? Or, you know,
so I'm on Instagram, Valenteez, VALENTEEZ.
EEZ, okay.
EEZ, yeah.
Valenteez, okay. And then anything on Facebook or anything?
I'm on Valente Rodríguez. It's my face with glasses and a bubble bath. Hit me up there. Send me a message. Friend me. Follow me. Whatever it is. I'm on TikTok también, but I don't remember what I am.
Well, they'll definitely know how to follow you.
I'm on YouTube también, but I forget the YouTube. I'm on YouTube cooking, baking.
Oh, yeah. Are you doing your own baking show or something?
Well, for a little while I thought I was. During COVID, I thought I was going crazy. So I
think everybody started a cooking show during COVID.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's been another episode of BorderLaughs Podcast, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you love this episode, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, and follow us. And make sure you
come out and see us. Come out and see us on the tour.
Tonight, we'll be on tour this year. A Gay Funny tour, guys, and spelled with a G-U-E-Y with Flo Hernandez from Dallas, Texas, guys. Look us all up. We're on tour. We'll be in a city near you. Tonight, we're in San Antonio. Tomorrow, we're in Victoria, Texas. And Saturday, we'll be in Corpus Christi, guys.
Yeah, baby.
So we'll probably be back by the time this is being aired. But follow us. We're going to have more tours coming up, guys. Gay Funny. Look us up. And we're working together. This has been another BorderLaughs episode, guys. Thank you so much. This is Josh Castro. Atehuacho. I'll see y'all later. There you go.